Irritable bowel syndrome is pretty much what it sounds like. You have abdominal discomfort, abdominal pain, accompanied with either constipation or diarrhea, and typically associated with stress, anxiety, depression, or previous intestinal infection. Talk loud because the wind's picking up and this might blow over. But what is good for IBS in general, and how many people does it affect? Well, it affects, we'll hold on to this, about 10 to 20% of Americans. It's the most common digestive disorder in the United States. And so it's definitely worth mentioning here at When Wellness. And when it comes to things that are generally good for IBS, of course, exercise, trying to reduce stress levels, right? That's so important because we talk about how stress is so intimately related with IBS typically. And you have things like aloe vera, apple cider vinegar, probiotics, peppermint, slowly reintroducing fiber into your diet, right? And we'll talk about that in a second. The keyword really here is slow, all being good. But a recent umbrella review of meta-analyses involving around 35,000 people showed that a low FODMAP diet, and we'll talk about what that is here in a second, was the most effective intervention in people with IBS for improving the symptoms of IBS, for improving stool consistency, and overall quality of life. Now, what's going on here with the low FODMAP diet, and what's really the deal? Well, pretty much you're eliminating a lot of carbs, right? So low fermented oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols is what a low FODMAP diet stands for. And if you're not familiar with those terms, well, those are all types of sugars, right? All types of carbohydrates. And so it seems like it would be a good idea to definitely lower our carbohydrate intake, to exercise, to be less stressed, focus on healthy fats and protein. But we also don't want to fully neglect fiber. Now, if you look up the low FODMAP diet in itself, you're going to see that it limits a lot of things that also have fiber, albeit it limits simple carbs and things that are bad for you, like agave or corn syrup, right? It also limits things like cauliflower or broccoli, that are otherwise known to be good for us. And so, as a doctor, I guess the best recommendation is, the aforementioned, and just try the low FODMAP, right? It seems really promising. Look up that list of foods and just, eliminate those and see what happens. But to me, as a human being, and really caring about the benefit that somebody's getting from whatever treatment it is for IBS, I can't say that you should eliminate necessarily all those things and not have any fiber, right? Because if you don't have fiber, you're not getting to the root cause, right? You could reduce the symptoms by not having fiber, but it's very similar to inflammatory bowel, where you want to slowly, eventually reintroduce fiber, because the fiber is feeding your gut bacteria that are controlling a good portion of your digestion, helping you break down things properly, right? And controlling your immune function and mood and appetite and fat storage, a whole lot of things, right? But you don't want a lot at once, right? So I would slowly reintroduce that fiber, okay? So you can't avoid things, especially that have soluble fiber, that could feed your gut bacteria and slow down the digestion of other carbohydrates, right? Because it makes that gel-like substance that travels through your GI tract, does soluble fiber, that can improve your digestion of carbs, because it makes it happen slower, doesn't spike your insulin to the same degree, and it's just overall good for your body, right? And so what about coffee? Because we did talk about the fact that higher coffee intake, at least this was in a retrospective cohort study involving around 425,000 people they did over 12 years, showed that was associated with a lower risk of IBS. But big difference here, right? That's people that don't have it yet, right? So the higher coffee intake was associated with a lower risk, and actually people that had more had an even lower risk, right? So that's not to say that coffee is good for you if you have IBS. If you have IBS, you actually probably want to avoid the caffeine, because that's going to trigger all this peristaltic contraction of your intestines and make stuff move through there quicker. And, it could cause more digestive upset, and it could exacerbate your symptoms, right? So there's a big difference between something that lowers risk and then in demographics, and something that is actually good once you have it for improving symptoms and overall health outcomes, right? So that's what we got for you guys, IBS, and look to these natural things before you start taking a bunch of medications and stuff. Try to get to the root of the problem. Try to fix how your gut is working in general. And we know that exercise is great for your gut, and we know that fiber is great for your gut. But again, don't load up on it right away. Slowly reintroduce fiber after your symptoms have subsided, where say you did follow purely the low FODMAP diet at first. then slowly bring things in, and you could even see what's really causing the symptoms. You know, not all fibers created equal. Like a lot of these different foods, they have a lot of other compounds in them, right? Micronutrients and all sorts of things that will affect how your body responds to it, as we're all genetically unique individuals. So, and you could say, okay, well, I reintroduced broccoli. For some reason, that doesn't get along with me, right? But, I could have, I could have quinoa, and I could, whatever it is, right? And definitely just try to be less stressed, mindfulness techniques, exercise, another great reducer of stress, just try to relax, try to stimulate your vagus nerve, take a big breath, take a longer breath out, and just, try to stimulate your parasympathetic rest digest nervous system. So that's what we got for you guys today. Hope you're having a great Sunday. Who do we got on here? We heard a bunch of workout equipment from Auction Ninja we got to go pick up here in a second. We already went and they weren't ready, so we had to go back. It's not that far. Veggies and Boyd, which is good. Modaz, Ma, what's up? Love you. Happy Sunday. M for Howie. Cavano, Dave Beast from the East. What's up? How you doing, brother? Sabia, what's up, baby girl? Andale. Cheyenne, how are you, my dear? S, what's up, baby? Gray Cabs and Hoy Tim. We appreciate the support here at One Wellness. As for now, it's getting windy and we're done. So that's what we got for you, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Not sure where, not sure when, but you're damn right we'll see you then. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you very much, and happy One Wellness. Happy Sunday.